Fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so usually GW does the intro, but he's not here. Tony, you want to do an intro? I think Tony died.
Yeah, he's been standing really still for a long time.
That was an impressive statue there, Tony. Absolutely amazing. Dory is okay, just some bites in the ball. So we're just gonna sit here awkwardly until he unfreezes. So the other co-host, GW, he is currently at the vet with his dogs because they got into a fight. Some bites on the paws, apparently. They got into patched up and stuff, fucking with the animals, bigger shit. Okay, so from what I understand, the bigger dog, the smaller dog attacked the bigger dog thinking he was king high as shit. And the big dog rolled him, so they got to patch up the small dog, and the bigger dog's got some bites on his paws. So,
man,
there he is, and he's back.
I've been here for a while.
Yeah, dude, you froze.
You were frozen our end for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've heard every word you guys have said.
You were literally just like. Yep. So yeah, GW might be joining us near the end of it. He may or may not. But anyways, today, welcome to the 11th episode of Three Nerds and a Stack of Comics.
1.
Huh? 11th.
Yeah, 1-1.
1-1. Oh. Anyways.
2 1s make it 11.
Yeah. Where are we going with this? I'm so confused.
Just a shout out to our own show, man. Just keep going.
Oh, okay. You distracted me.
Oh my god. If you're this easily distracted, how the hell do you play video games?
Lately, I don't.
He gets lost in the side quests. He can never stay on the main story.
You say that, but it's the truth.
It's lost in the side quest.
I'm sure it's true.
And then picks
true.
up another side quest and forget which side quest he started.
Yeah.
And then I end up standing on top of a mountain somewhere in the world looking at the prettiness. That's currently where my link exists, by the way. Go ahead. But hold on. Before this man talks, let me introduce him. This is Bo. This is one of... Am I pointing in the right direction? Hold on. Yeah, this is Bo. This is my friend Bo. He has a podcast that I show up periodically and wreak havoc on called ECN, and with another friend of mine, Scott. So if you guys get a chance, look him up. Do the spiel first. Tell us about your the stuff, and then go ahead with what you were about to say.
So Electric City Nerds, ECN Radio. Scott and I have been doing that for like 11 years. Far too long, to be honest with you. And we started a YouTube channel called Undercast Collective, and it's just to be honest with you, having a YouTube channel dedicated to just one podcast was like too much work for myself. And so we said, well, why don't we just get other podcast friends that we know to also share in the labor of promoting the YouTube channel. And so Undercast Collective is kind of a YouTube channel just for us and our friends' podcasts.
It's someday they might even talk about letting me post my stuff there.
Hey, I don't think it's a bad idea, man.
No. Anyway, so go ahead.
I was going to ask, you're talking about side quests, and I recently, I don't know if you've ever done this where just like you've heard about something being so bad that you kind of had to try it out. Kind of like a bad movie, but in the video game sense. There is an MMO called Shroud of the Avatar. It's famous for being, pretty bad. And I recently picked it up, and I'm trying to learn, like, there has to be something good here, right? Like, it's a real game, like it's a working game. There's people that still play it. So like I've been like trying to force myself to like find like what it is that people like about it. And I haven't gotten very far yet. I just started, but have you guys ever heard of Shroud of the Avatar?
No,
I just did.
I think it's pretty obscure. But the the strangest thing you were talking about side quests. The just strangest thing that I've found about the game so far is that the quests are basically just like there is no like NPC that you go pick a quest up from or anything like that. You just like while out in the world, you find like a scrap of paper, and then you read what's on the scrap of paper, and it may give you some clue to go investigate something or do something, but then there's no indication that you're now on that quest, you know. And so like you don't know to keep, like it's so easy to get lost in knowing what you're supposed to be doing next. But maybe for some people that's the thing they like about the game is that they feel like they can kind of get lost in it, and it's a real world, you know. They're not as objectively, you know, focused on just trying to finish the game the way I am.
No hand holding that. Okay. So
Yeah.
I can go do this if I want to, and there's no marker or annoying thing that's going to make me go do this. But if I want to and I stumble upon it, I can do it. There's a whole sect and group of people that love that kind of shit.
Yeah. But the question is, and I know you never played Shroud, so it's hard to say, you know, you can't really say whether one way or the other, but sometimes there's no hand holding because the game is designed to be that way. And then sometimes there's no hand holding because it was bad implementation of the hand holding. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to figure out which avenue this game kind of falls into.
I have a feeling that there's, from what I looked at, from what I just saw, it looks like it's not meant to hold your hand. I think it's just, here's the world, find the adventures. Good luck, buddy.
Find the adventures.
True.
Yep. That's what it looks like. And I just looked at the Steam page, and what's funny is on the Steam page, it has, in the recent reviews, like, mostly good. And then in all-time reviews, it looks, what is it, mixed, I think it said?
Except it said on Steam.
YouTube hates it. I don't know about the Steam reviews, but I know that like all the videos, if you just look up Shroud of the Avatar on YouTube, all the videos are like, you know, playing the worst MMOs ever, Shroud of the Avatar, LOL, that kind of thing.
You know what it is with most YouTube players? You know what it is with most YouTube players? Is just most YouTube gamers, if they're posting a video, they don't want a 50-hour video of you roaming around trying to find this specific tree in the middle of the forest to dig out a dagger to return it to its owner so that way you can go on to the next quest. And there's no markers or anything to hold their hands. So that's probably what it is. But for like some schmo that just wants to roam around and do things, this is amazing.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm playing it down. Maybe it's way better than I think it is.
And like this might not appeal to me. Like I wouldn't be able to play this. I would never get anything done. Like
what's the goal though? Like what is there to get done? You know what I mean? Like you say you'd never get anything done, but I think that's the purpose. I think that's the point. Is wandering around not getting things done is the point. This guy says, I played for 10 minutes after being recommended this game from a friend. That's how long it took me to realize that this game has clunky controls. That's true too. The game is like completely like, it's like you're looking at like an old window, like an old version of Windows or something. Like it's completely like just full of menus and windows. Horrible menus and UI wasn't worth the headache. Yada yada yada. Yeah, but there are some also positive reviews. And here's the positive review that actually goes into this conversation. If you prefer hand holding, do not download this game. The tutorials are okay, but after that, you are on your own. Yeah, that's exactly right. Anyway, I didn't mean to make this Shroud of the Avatar cast, but
oh no, it's fine. Let's see.
We really didn't have an intro, so thanks for filling that.
Right, it's perfect. Like I love the Dark Souls games, but with Dark Souls games, even though they don't hold your hand to tell you where to go, there's a very obvious direction to go.
Yeah,
but there's 15 really ways to do it. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And there's a really big community around those games, in that game. So like, even outside of the game. It's funny how some games have that, like where like it's not an MMO, but it kind of feels like one because there's this just like online world where they just constantly discuss it and try to come up with new ways to play the game.
Yep.
Skyrim was like that.
I used to host fight tournaments in what is it? What is the name of the game I just said? Dark Souls. There we go. Dark Souls 3. I can't believe I just couldn't remember that word. Used to host fight tournaments outside of the bishop's place. It's probably not the bishop's place. Outside of the cathedral. After you beat the guy, I can never remember names. Dark Souls
1,
3.
2, or 3?
3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you walk out, and there's a big area that you can use your cracked knuckles, not knuckles. I don't know, there's a whole shitload of things you can use, but you can get red invaders, purple invaders, and blue invaders. And if you stand up there and like point down as they come in, you can have them all fight each other to fight you. And like I've seen some shit come through there. I'm like, nah, that's cheap. Nah, I ain't messing with you. And that stuff is fun.
That's the thing. Like Dark Souls players like to designate certain areas as like the fight area. So, yeah.
Yes. Yes, they do. But, yeah. So, Bo, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Go into whatever you want to go into. Gonna put you on the spot.
Well, that's about all there is of me. My wife and I have been watching Sopranos. I'm not caught up. I know you guys were talking about WandaVision before the show. I've actually only watched the first episode so far because my wife is obsessed with Sopranos. It's the only thing my TV can watch right now. But
okay.
WandaVision's next in line, though. I wanna watch it next, and I don't mind if you guys talk about it.
It's
a matter of fact, I think you should talk about it.
It's getting really, really good. Like really, really good.
The big reveal just happened. Like
the
big reveal.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: did you hear Scott talk about it on the last ECN? Where
I think he did.
So like, he has a theory. Mm-hmm. He has a theory that this is going to bring the Sony X-Men universe into the Marvel cinematic or the Marvel universe.
I think that's going to happen.
We were talking about that actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think that you're still on path to that resolution, or
I have a feeling that the lead from this story to lead into Multiverse of Madness with Doctor Strange is what's going to cause Fantastic Four mutants to be brought into the MCU. I don't think WandaVision itself is going to be the like the biggest reason it's here, but I think it's going to help catalyst. It's going to be a catalyst in the creation, in the bringing them to it.
Like how Spider-Man Homecoming, they sort of kind of introduced the multiverse.
Yeah, with Mysterio being from the multiverse, even though Jake Gyllenhaal was like awesome in that movie. Him and like Tom Holland. Wow, I can't remember names today. Tom Holland were absolutely adorable together. It was seriously the most romantic movie like ever, and it was great.
I noticed that Spider-Man gets younger and younger. The more modern portrayals of him, he just gets younger and younger. Because
Peter Parker has to remain a high school kid. That is
forever.
Law.
But I don't know. I've been watching the like really old stuff with my son recently, and the old cartoon, I don't know if it was from the 60s or when it was, but like not the cartoon that we watched when we were kids on Fox Kids or whatever, but there's one that's older than that all the memes come from.
The meme generator one,
Peter Parker's like a grown-ass man in that show. Like he's he's not even it's so weird.
Well, see,
but I feel like he got younger. He got every portrayal of him. He gets younger and younger.
In the 90s cartoon, the definitive Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah,
he was in his 20s, mid to late 20s.
He was a college kid around that time.
Yeah.
So it's
right.
And then the next one after that, he had just started in college. Then there was a funky one with Neil Patrick Harris voicing Spider-Man. It was okay. It was on like MTV for 1 or 2 seasons. Not bad.
Spectacular Spider-Man or Ultimate Spider-Man?
I think that was Ultimate. Because Spectacular was the one when he was in high school.
Uh-huh.
And that was the one, I think, when Fox brought it back to, like, Saturday mornings. Yeah. And it had Keith something as the voice actor. And now I'm not even sure there is a Spider-Man TV show right now airing because of the movies.
They have I should know because we've been trying to find one because he's always asking to watch Spider-Man. There's like a Marvel show for kids, and there's these little short fat Marvel characters, and it includes Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but it's not Spider-Man focused.
Marvel's Superhero Adventures.
Yeah. And then there's actually like, I don't know if it's still on or if it's old, but on YouTube we looked up there's like one called like Spider-Man and Friends or something.
Yeah.
And it's Spider-Man, but honestly, like our kid doesn't even, it's in a weird place where it's like too young for him, but yet I think the age audience that it is focused for, they don't care about Spider-Man yet. So I don't know, it's a little weird.
No. Oh, okay. So Marvel Spider-Man is currently airing. That's been on since 2017, and it's still going.
I'll have to look that up. Have to look that up.
And I think Robin, the voice actor for Robin, is a Spidey. Scott Menville.
Which Robin?
Scott Menville. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in season 3 currently.
Okay, yeah. We've watched this one. I didn't realize it was still in the air though.
Yeah.
This one's actually pretty good. I mean, I'm thinking about it from the perspective of a dad watching it with his kid. It's pretty good.
Nothing wrong with that. Let's see. We have the Ultimate Spider-Man, which is the one I was just talking about. Was it them? Drake Bell was Spider-Man's voice actor?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, it was that one. See, what I'm excited for the most is some more multiverse stuff with
Miles Morales?
Miles. Yeah, what was that one called? The movie.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot that one. The one I was talking about, Josh Keaton as the voice of the Spider-Man, was the Spectacular Spider-Man. The Ultimate Spider-Man was the one that just ended before the current series. And the Spider-Man in the animated series came out in 2003. That one was with NPH. Yeah. Now
Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite comic book movie, hands down. I love that movie. My wife and I watch it all the time. We feel like our son is not old enough to watch it yet, but we watch it all the time, and we show him clips from it.
How old is your kid?
He is like 2.5. He's almost 3.
Yeah, definitely not old enough. Too many flashing lights.
Yeah, he likes clips from it. Like he can watch Miles Morales jumping through the city and stuff. But the scenes where like Peter Parker dies and like some of that stuff is just like, he wouldn't understand it yet. Yeah, we'll wait a little bit, but yeah, he loves some stinking Spider-Man. And I think that movie is good because it like feels, not just in the way it's animated, but also the storyline itself. Like it feels like you're watching a comic book movie. Whereas like when you watch a lot of Marvel comic book movies, the big Marvel, big budget films, you feel like you're watching, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it doesn't feel like you're watching a movie that's like from a comic book.
Tony froze again.
Oh no, Tony froze again. He can probably still hear us, but
I know. That does agree. He's all like, strike a pose, Bo. Okay. While he unfreezes,
yeah.
What were we gonna say? Okay, do you remember the Ghost Rider movies with Nicolas Cage?
I never watched those. I like knew they were bad, but it was before I could watch it to enjoy how bad it was. So I never watched it.
Okay, so the first one all around was good, great. Like I still love watching. It.
Really?
It's fun to watch. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Okay.
love watching it. It
I've
is
never seen it, so I'm not saying you're wrong. I just that's not the way I'd heard about it.
when you get a chance, sit down and actually just watch them. All right,
I
don't
should.
have zero inhibitions. Okay, these are going to be enjoy them for what they are. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
The second one, everybody panned terribly because they were like, "This is working on it. We're getting a spinning screen for you. There we go." So the second one, everybody was like, "This movie was terrible," and I'm like, "No. This movie was shot exactly like a comic book. So if you take every shot from the second movie and you put it in a comic book frame, it's a comic book, exactly like a comic book. Because there's a scene where you get like
we're talking about
Ghost Rider 2. You get like the crazy Nicolas Cage head change in the middle of the night. He's riding on the motorcycle, and all the city is going behind. He's like, and he keeps flashing back between the rider and him, and it's absolutely insane. But if you put that into a panel of a comic book, it's awesome. It's a struggle between him and the rider.
Do you think that if that movie came out today, right? And okay, so you probably couldn't put Nicolas Cage in it today, but if it came out today, you put somebody else in it that had the star power today that Nicolas Cage had at that time. Do you think it would get better reviews now just because the public is more aware of superhero movies than they were then?
Oh God, no! The story was horrendous. It was just fun to watch.
Okay.
The story was terrible.
there are certain scripts for certain movies that can only be salvaged because of the actors in it.
Yeah, listen. Yeah. The second one, like, I still love it and enjoy the shit crap out of it, and it looks exactly like a comic book movie, but that story was terrible.
Yeah.
And it has Idris Elba in it, so you can't go wrong. You know, Nicolas Cage, Idris Elba. Speaking, hold on, I'm gonna interrupt you real quick.
You're fine.
Nicolas Cage still has a massive amount of star power because he can make some really shitty movies and some batshit movies and still maintain his A status. Like he did Mandy, he did Willy's
Mandy's
Wonderland.
Good,
Willy's Wonderland. I've watched. Oh my God! If you ever wanted to see Nicolas Cage look fucking insane for like an hour and 30 minutes and say absolutely nothing and just go ham on puppets, you're in for a fantastic time. It's
exactly
hilarious.
What would happen if you take Nicolas Cage and put him in the main character seat in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes.
Oh, so when you say puppets, there's actually puppets in the movie.
Huge animatronic murderous puppets.
Wow.
Yes. And
Nicolas Cage is the one that they are locked in with.
Yes.
I like Color Out of Space. It was really good. It was some crazy Nicolas Cage in that movie.
Oh, he Nicolas Caged all over that shit.
Yeah. But no, what I was gonna say is there's a lot of times where like a movie will have like a really bad rap, and then I'll watch it and and maybe it hits with me in a way that it didn't hit with the majority of people, but I'm like, I really feel like this movie's way better than it gets credit for. Can you think of any examples that are kind of like, I mean, is that the way you felt about Ghost Rider or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
See, I if I laugh hard at a movie, if I just genuinely it makes me smile. If I liked a character, to me that's a good movie.
Yeah.
If I sit through an entire movie and I look up and I'm like, what the fuck did I just waste my time for? It's a terrible movie, And that does not happen very much because I will watch, like, my ratings for movies to watch, if it has less than a 2-star, I'll still watch it. If it's like 1.5 stars, I'll give it the first 10 minutes of my life that I can. If it doesn't impress me by then, and that bar is really low, so if you can't hit that bar, you got garbage. But when me and my wife look for like horror movies on Saturday to watch, it's usually 3-star and up that we look for, and we have found some gems on Amazon that we're like, wow, I didn't expect this to be this good. Or the hell was that? And then we talk about it. We have a nice conversation about what the fuck did we just watch. And it's awesome,
Yeah.
Tag?
If I'd say a movie that I had watched, it's actually one that you'd introduced me to a long time ago, and it's something that I know will never ever achieve like an Oscar or a Tony or any sort of like famous award for none of its acting, none of its action directions, or none of its cinematography. But I still enjoyed the hell out of it. And it's Guyver 2, Dark Hero.
Oh God, that movie was so awesome. Jumps off the cliff, Guyver.
It was like basically like Sentai on steroids.
It really was.
And it's starring David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake.
Oh wow!
Before he became Solid Snake.
That is awesome.
And he's like transforming into this metal hero at night and like fighting these giant, like, well, not giant, but he's fighting these monsters like kung fu style and slicing them up with his elbow blades. And it's the greatest thing I have ever seen. And it's miles better than the first one.
Oh God, anything was better than that crappy.
That sounds awesome, dude.
But holy crap, I swear to God, I'm like, why haven't people actually talked about this movie?
Yeah. Even the like B movie fans, the people that like love the bad movies, are not talking about that one. I haven't heard of that. That's crazy.
I found it.
I'm surprised it has not hit cult status yet.
Listen, I even remember the story of how I found this, right? I remember watching the original one, had like Mark Hamill, and I was like, yo, it's got Luke Skywalker in it, you know? Let's go watch this. He turns into this crazy like bug horror show by the end of it. And he's not even this main character. But
wow,
it had Jimmy Walker in it. That's who it had. That was the big star besides Mark Hamill in it. And Jimmy Walker in his outfit starts rapping, and we're like, this is so bad. Bo, I highly suggest watching the first Guyver, just because it is a terrible movie. And everybody watch it for context. Okay. If you guys look into the 3 Nerds section on the Discord, I did drop the Wikipedia for Dark Hero. So I'm walking through Blockbuster back in the day. My dad used to work there part-time. And I'm like, I'm like, yo, it's the sequel to this movie. This is going to be so awesome. Because, I was, 10? So we get it. Ty's over, and we're watching this, and we're like, dude, he just jumped off a cliff and said, Guyver, and he transformed and said, the Guyver's run. Still always going to be cool. I don't care how old I am.
Outside the suit, he's just a normal dude. But the suit, which, by the way, which does cover his entire body and adds like, I don't know, maybe a foot to him, a couple inches to him in height, and like several hundred pounds, I'm assuming, because it's made out of like space alien metal. It's all fits compact into a little pocket in the back of his neck.
Yeah. That's how I always felt about the Iron Man suit. Is it's always like he can make it like it just starts expanding, and I'm like, come on, billionaire building all this technology so they can fight crime. Okay, I get it, but like this is some otherworldly technology here. Like, how is he able to do this?
I dropped that clip in 3 Nerds if you guys want to take a look at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is just amazing, just classic 90s cheese. Like you can feel the Velveeta. And
so often you can hear Hater slip into the Snake voice.
Yes. Oh God, it's so
Which
awesome.
Again, this is pre-Solid Snake.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's amazing. I love
it. Later on in the movie though, the fights, the choreography, they get insane.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon couldn't touch the shit on this thing.
Honestly, you know what it looks like? It looks like that movie got the Power Ranger treatment. Like it was a Japanese movie and they just cut in Hater.
Well, it's based off of it's based off of an anime manga series.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I've seen Guyver and read many chapters of it, but it's like that movie looks like it got the Power Ranger treatment.
Oh no! Everything, including the actors and everything, they were shot on site.
Okay.
They just had the people who were in charge were just like, the pros, like straight from Toei.
Nice.
Both the monster designers and the suit actors, everybody was straight from the source. But
Good.
everything else shot on location.
Okay.
Wow.
Good to know that.
My movie that everybody hated that I loved is well, I'm not going to say Tusk. But but I do love Tusk. Is I don't understand the hate that the Warcraft movie got. I really love the Warcraft movie.
I've actually never seen it.
Oh, really? I wish
Yeah.
you'd watch it. I'd want to hear your opinion on it, because to me the movie was not great. It's not a great movie, but I felt like it was a good enough movie. Like I don't understand why, like, they were planning to make, more, and then this whole thing was just apparently so bad that they were like, this ends the whole franchise. We're never doing another Warcraft movie. And like, it really was not that bad, man. You got to see a lot of cool, like, fan stuff on screen, and the story was like not horrendous. There's some cool moments in the movie. Like I overall really thought it was way better than it deserved more than what it got as far as the rating goes. That's kind of how I felt about it.
That movie falls into the whole category of I want to watch it, but every time I go to procure a copy of it, I completely forget what movie I'm looking for, and I find something else. And
oh yeah.
And they cut out Leroy Jenkins, so I'm kind of like, yeah, what's the point? He is about the most.
Leroy. You got to Leroy your way into Amazon and just go ahead and buy that thing. Just don't think about it. Just Leroy Jenkins and click buy now. That's what you got to do.
World of War. Let's see.
It's just the movie's just called Warcraft.
Is it called Warcraft?
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, that was the problem with the movie, is like the movie looked great. There's not, there's good and bad acting in it, but the problem with the movie was they chose like a storyline so early in the game that like even Warcraft fans were kind of like, like, this isn't the story I wanted to see, kind of deal. Like if they had done like some story from Wrath of the Lich King or something that was, more like Hollywood-ish, I guess. I think it would have been picked up by the non-World of Warcraft fans much wider than what it did. It actually did like $300 million, but it was almost all in China. Was the deal? It was huge in China, and it made like less than 100 million here in the U.S.
I can watch it tomorrow on Netflix on FX. So, or Tuesday on FX.
I'd be interested, man. I felt like it was way better. And the thing is like before it even came out, I was already seeing like negative reviews, and I know how like movie screeners and things get, they get to watch it and then kind of like write a review before the movie comes out. And in a way, it's like to promote the movie. Like if it's really good and they give it a really good review, then everybody's going to go see it. But I feel like in this case, like this was a video game movie and it was a fantasy movie, and critics usually like grade both of those genres really poorly. And so the fact that they kind of got the first word, they got the first say, I think that's what doomed it. I think from then on, nobody was willing to admit that they liked it,
Yeah, that happens. That's a damn shame. I think when I approach a movie, I don't actually bother much with reviews. I give a glance to see kind of what the general consensus is. Like, did they like it? Did they not? But I don't put much into it because I go and watch it myself. Because when it comes down to it, my tastes are a lot different from everybody else. I will watch a terrible fucking movie and consider that, the best thing I've seen today. There are movies that I love watching that are horrendous. Like, let's be honest. If I were to look at it objectively, these are terrible, but I still love them. That whole
yet it's good.
Yes, the I hate that stuff. Like, I understand why, because it might not like my taste might not apply to everybody else, but it's still frustrating to see movies get panned right off the bat.
You know how they have those sites where like you can get a new wine every month or whatever, and whenever you sign up for it, you have to say, oh, I drink my coffee black. I like dark chocolate versus milk chocolate. Like, and you kind of like, they give you like a list of things, and then you say which ones you like and which ones you don't. And then based on that taste, they say, oh, well, we really think you'd like this particular wine or whatever. They need something like that, but for movie reviews, like a website that doesn't just show you the reviews, the overall reviews or the average reviews, the critic reviews versus the audience score. They need like you say, oh, I really liked this movie over that movie, and you kind of go through like a chain, right? And then whenever you look at a movie, it gives you a score based on how well you liked other movies that were of a similar, scenario. Yeah. Get on that, Kelly.
You should copyright that right there, right now. Okay, you just gave somebody, whoever might watch this, you just gave somebody $1 million idea. Let's be honest. I don't know enough about programming or even setting up websites enough to do that. I wouldn't either. There's algorithms, rhythms, and shit that I would have to study for in order to even do that.
Yeah. It would be like, because you could like a movie for different reasons,
Yeah.
Like I like the movie. I like almost any Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie just because I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You
got a man crush on him. It's okay. You
yeah,
can freely admit it.
I got a man crush on the Levitt.
No reason to be ashamed. To admit that.
Let's be honest. He is pretty. Okay, it's like it's no shame in it. Come on.
Yeah, and so my score it might would pair me with a movie like Snowden that didn't do very well, but it knows that I just generally like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah. I don't know. There's all kinds of different like things. Like the system would have to be smart enough to know. Okay, well he liked this movie, and it has like it could have hundreds of different like here's all the actors in it. Here's the genre it is. It could have like a bunch of different things, and then it matches that metadata with the metadata of another movie that you like, and it tries to start seeing the patterns,
similarities.
So yeah, so it's almost like you need like an AI, like a machine learning, that would figure this out.
That
somebody's working on this. I'm not the first person to think of this. Someone's working on this right now as we speak.
And what you just explained could be applied to so many other things. Besides, what movie to watch today.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, it sounds similar to what Netflix does. You watch this type of movie.
Oh, that's really true.
So it's already kind of there. It just would be like, you would have to set it up for new releases more than anything, based on reviews and like critic reviews and stuff like that. So I think it actually exists. We would just have to tweak it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. YouTube does this. This is how it figures out its suggestions.
Yeah.
So yeah, this technology actually is there. It's not something I've invented. So what makes my website different than Netflix? Other than the fact you can't actually watch the movie on Netflix. I don't know. I think you gave me way too much credit. This is sounding more and more like this is not as good of an idea as we thought.
Fuck it, Bo. That's a great idea, man. You came up with it. It's all yours. Fuck what everybody else is saying. This is Bo's idea.
Hey, sometimes the best ideas are the ones that don't really sound the greatest. You got to just run with it, man.
Oh, man.
Believe in your idea.
That's right. Even if somebody else already thought it up, who cares?
And it's not about who did it first. It's about who did it better.
That's right. That's right.
How do we do it better?
We're working on it. But see, okay, so give you an idea of what my movie taste goes from. I'm going to read off a list of movies that I've watched in a row. Okay. So we have Pandorum. Okay. Have you ever seen Pandorum?
I don't think so. I got to look it up to see.
Okay.
I'm going to look some of these up while you're telling me.
So Pandorum, I highly suggest. It's really, really good sci-fi horror. Dennis Quaid, Norman Reedus is in about it for like 3 minutes before he gets savagely murdered. Oof. I'm just going to spoil that one for you. It is
to the Norman Reedus fans,
right? It is like the world's over, and this is the remainder of humanity. And
I recognize this movie.
Yes,
I haven't seen it though. Yeah,
highly suggest. Right, so we go from sci-fi horror to Guns Akimbo, which is Daniel Radcliffe with guns nailed to his hand and trying to not get killed by a psychotic, drug-induced girl trying to kill him for entertainment on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Then we have a movie called After Midnight, which is a indie film that is horror and literally takes place on the front porch and in the foyer and the dining room. And I think there's a shot of a town at one point, too, about a guy whose girlfriend left him, and every night an alien is trying to get into his house. And honestly, for as low budget as this is, it was awesome. Like, the ending, it was like, holy shit, this is great. I did not see that coming. Right? So I suggest that one too. You and the wife should sit down and watch it. It's really good.
That one looks pretty cool, yeah.
It is. And then after Midnight, we have VFW, which is an old grindhouse movie about a bunch of war vets, Vietnam era war vets, so on and so forth, that come to the VFW, and across the street from the VFW is like a drug den. And insanity goes from there. Then you have Color Out of Space. Beautiful. Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's an old Lovecraftian story. You can never go wrong with Lovecraft, even as psychotically racist as that man was. He was still a fantastic artist, let's be honest. His stories are haunting. No matter how many times you've read them or they've been reinvented, they are haunting. Then you have Vivarium, which I did not know what to expect from that. But that shit was weird. Enjoyable, but weird. Bloodshot. It was alright. Sonic the Hedgehog. That was awesome. It was nice to finally see Jim Carrey some shit.
When you get an actor and they're known for certain things like manic energy or stretchy faces or whatever, and you just give them a role that allows them to do that to the best of their ability, you got gold on your hands. It's like alchemy, dude.
Like, they literally just let him go. I'm pretty sure they said, here's generally what you need to convey. And then Jim Carrey said, okay. And they just hit action, and he Jim Carrey'd. And it was beautiful.
Jim Carrey'd very hard. And it was exactly what we were looking for.
Yes. And everybody else in that movie, perfect, spot on. I love them. The crazy guy, believing in the Blue Devil, which is by the way, which is very real, was awesome. All that stuff was awesome. But Jim Carrey literally stole that entire movie as Dr. Robotnik, and there's just no way around it. And then we go to
the movie.
Go ahead.
At the end of the movie, he makes that full transformation.
Yes.
And he looks pretty spot on with the goggles and the weird mustache. He even shaved his head. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Any complaints about how he looks in the movie, they saw that shit right at the end.
Yes, they did. And then I have Return to the Living Dead. Old, amazing, cheesy 80s, 90s zombie movies. Like, the zombies talk, and they're all around ridiculous. You ever want a good time, just watch those first two, okay? Everything after that is if you okay, the first two are amazing. The third one got dark, and you're like, what? Why are we doing this? Why are we not maintaining the goofiness of the series? And then everything after the third one, if you've already sank down that low into this hole, just go ahead and keep going and get all the way through the rest of the movies. You got Rave to the Grave, Necropolis. Let's see, there is Necropolis, Rave to the Grave is 4 and 5. So you got 2 more after you finish the third one. You might as well just keep on trucking and enjoy the ridiculousness of the Return of the Living Dead movies. Then you got American Werewolf in London, absolute classic. Still one of my favorite werewolf transformations ever. And number 2 on that list will be Underworld. The Underworld transformations, even though CGI'd all to hell, I still loved them. They were very beautiful, very visceral. You could feel the bone cracking and all the moving and the popping, and it looked pretty. But not as just miserably painful as the one in American Werewolf in London. That was masterpiece right there. And then it goes on. It goes on to, like Dog Soldiers. If you've never seen Dog Soldiers, I 100% suggest watching Dog Soldiers because that is a beautiful gem. 2002, Dog Soldiers. Favorite line in the movie. He looks at this werewolf right before he's about to get eaten. He spits at it and says, "I hope I give you the shits."
Yeah, Scott talks about that movie a lot. I've never seen it.
You should watch it. You will understand the amazingness of this movie. And there's a whole slew of just, horror and sci-fi stuff like that. There's a movie called Southland Tales that has Sean William Scott, I think, Stifler.
Okay.
From and The Rock in it. That movie was fucking weird, but good. And earnest movies here, there, now and then, which is Now and Then, Here and There, which is a sci-fi. It's an anime, but it's like sci-fi dystopia isekai. It's rough, but it's beautiful. And one of the gems. Okay, so you said what movie got panned, but I really liked to earlier. You asked me about it. Since I'm going to wrap this up after they bring up this movie. There's a movie that came out last year with Kristen Stewart, Twilight Girl, called Underwater. It's fucking awesome. Yes. Fucking awesome. Like, I didn't know what to expect when I hit play on this movie, but from the get-go, it is just everything I expected it to be.
Which she's been trying really hard to recycle her character, or recycle herself as an actress.
And she's doing
Twilight.
She's doing good. She's doing really good. She did a great job in that movie. She runs around in that movie the majority of the time in underwear and a bra. Everybody does, honestly. Like T.J. Miller is running around in his underwear.
I remember the ads for this movie. I never saw it. A crew of oceanic researchers working in a deep-sea drilling company try to get to safety after a mysterious earthquake devastates the deepwater research facility. I remember the preview for it.
The big reveal makes that review right there. Just no. Oh my god, the big reveal is fucking awesome. You're like, yeah, whenever you see what caused the accident.
This came out, so I pulled it up on IMDb while you were talking about it. I do remember this, and I wanted to see this. It didn't do well, but only because this was just before the pandemic hit.
Yep.
So they probably got screwed over by the theaters shutting down and stuff. I'll have to check this out. I bet a lot of people forgot about that movie.
A lot of people did. I don't have a doubt about. I cannot push people into watching this enough. It is.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Thoroughly enjoyable, and regardless of whatever T.J. Miller did, because he's been canceled for saying something stupid. T.J. Miller, what did he do? Let's look. T.J. Miller. What happened? There we go. In December 20th, he's from he was Weasel in Deadpool, the bar owner in Deadpool.
Okay. I remember from that movie, I guess.
Yep.
Okay.
The Daily Beast reported allegations that Miller sexually assaulted his college girlfriend. In April 2018, Miller was arrested at LaGuardia Airport and accused of calling in a fake bomb threat from an Amtrak train, for which he faces federal charges.
Wow.
Okay.
That's pretty funny.
Apparently he was also a bully and a petulant brat, but I mean, it's Hollywood, baby. They're all petulant brats. Let's be honest. These are all a bunch of overpaid people that get paid to make pretend.
Be idolized. Yeah.
Yep. So, regardless of how he's fucked up, he was really great in this movie. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed what he did in this movie. So, but yeah. But see, that's the variety of movies I watch. Like, I will also go off and watch something completely ridiculous later, too. And I actually forgot why we went on this rant. So, let's move on to another subject. Tony, you've been quiet most of this time. What you got, man?
playing Resident Evil 7 this whole entire time.
You've been playing Resident Evil 7? This is how laid back this podcast is, man. We're just gonna talk.
I'm in preparation for Resident Evil 8 and giant vampire mommy.
Yep.
Giant vampy dummy mommy.
Yes. I want her to destroy me every time.
I love all the memes about playing that game where people are like in like bondage gear with the headset on and belts around their neck.
Yes.
And the big mommy milkers, of course, and all that stuff.
I can already see it. The part where she's going to be chasing us, everybody's going to be, failing on it, and Capcom's going to be like, "You have to run away, idiots! Run away!"
Gonna be looking at the data like, why does everybody keep dying at this one spot?
Hey, seriously though, I'll tell you something I'm worried about that game. I say worried. It's probably a good game, but I saw something about one of the developers was saying that he was shocked to see all the attention that character was getting. And it makes me feel like they're gonna pull like a Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty thing where it's like the first part of the game is that, and then there's some like chord change where the rest of the game is something completely different, and then we're all gonna be like, no, we wanted the big southern hat lady, to chase us around, and then that's really the only first 20 minutes of the game. That's kind of what I'm worried about.
That's okay.
Capcom knows what they got because of that tweet. The tweet where they said we appreciate all of the attention and love that our character Miss Alcina Dimitrescu has been getting from all of our fans, especially our Western fans. So the topic of her height has come into question lately, and to confirm, with her heels and her hat, she is roughly 9 feet 6 inches tall. Why would you give that information unless we were specifically asking for it? They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
I hope so.
Somebody over there is like, the Americans are going to eat this up. Evil laugh.
Or allow themselves to be eaten by it.
That's right.
It looks pretty good. But here's another weird thing, right? So, Resident Evil has always been like, tangentially connected to the supernatural and the occult and this sort of stuff, but it's always had this sort of like science background to it. Like, well, it's a parasite that is causing the zombie, the mind control. It's always had this like pseudoscience behind it to kind of try to explain it away as sci-fi as opposed to just like supernatural horror.
That's
whereas this one,
threat.
Right, yeah, exactly. This game, like, we see these women like turn the bats and then come back. Like, there can't be any sort of like, it has to be mystical in some way. Like so to me, it kind of breaks out of the RE franchise a little bit. Like, it's going to be in name, it's going to be a Resident Evil game, and I'm sure it's going to have some mechanics and some cues from other Resident Evil games. But really, this really has to be like a new, like, this is a new jumping on point. Like, this has to be a separate story from what we've gotten so far. I don't see how else it could be.
I disagree. I see where your point is and where it's going.
Yeah,
but I disagree. And my argument can be summed into one topic: Wesker.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
to be all fairness, okay, so we never really understood where this came from. In 5, you find out that the zombie virus, the T virus, and all that stuff came from a plant found in Africa. Now, Africa is the origins of the zombie story, because whenever the African slaves were brought over from there and put into the Caribbean islands and stuff like that, that's where hoodoo comes from. Okay, thus hoodoo and zombies are one of those things that come together. So it goes back further into the whole tribal aspect of that plant.
Different kinds of zombies, though.
Different kinds of zombies.
Yeah, mind control, not less like reanimated dead.
Yeah. So, but this is the chain of how we get to reanimated dead to current things. because of that plant. Okay, so it goes up, comes to the Americans because of the slaves being brought over there, hoodoo and all the religious practices and stuff like that, conversion into Christianity, and then eventually Romero gets a hold of the idea and creates the definitive zombie. Okay, actually, Louis Faluca also, that's not really how his name is pronounced, but that's always what I've called him. The Italian zombie director also helped too, but it was Romero that, integrated the current idea of what zombies are today.
He is the basis of all zombie films.
Right. So, along with the zombie lore, we have werewolves, vampires, and Frankenstein and all that stuff that are kind of in line with the zombie lore. We've only ever explored the aspects, I'm getting to a point, I promise, of the other strangely supernatural things of the strangely supernatural out there, only explored the zombie line of thinking there, because it was always about zombies. Nobody ever said vampires and werewolves and Frankenstein and the Invisible Man don't exist in this world. So all of this stuff could have been going on while we were killing zombies.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is so the rules of the world of Resident Evil, like the way they set it up over and the thing is it's been so many years that it could be time for a key change. Like this it's okay with me that they've made this decision. It's just like the rules that they set up is that this was grounded in like a far-fetched alternate history sci-fi. Where there was no hoodoo mysticism. It was all based on this scientific mishap.
But there was, because even though it's a scientific mishap, the scientific mishap was founded from a plant that was protected by tribal people, and the story of zombies came from those tribal people and followed over to the New World through the slaves and their religion and hoodoo and stuff like that. So what they did is, if you look at the story in 5 and stuff like that, they talk about that it was brought over from there, and that's how they knew of the plant and found it in Africa.
Okay.
So
I'm on board for it.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I mean,
oh no, I'm absolutely on board for it.
I like that you're talking me into this. I want to be won over on that concept. But I think that it'll make a lot more sense when we actually play the game. I'm not wondering if there's not more. I feel that there's more that we don't know about this game than we we don't know what we don't know.
We don't know shit about this game.
There's a lot more behind this trailer that we don't know about. Yeah,
we got
unknowns.
We got a trailer with a really, really tall, hot vampire mommy with big knockers and the three little hot chicks, with blood on their face, and we just lost our brain cells, and it was like, I want to play this game. We don't know what the fuck's going on.
I remember Resident Evil 4. Me and my roommate at the time, and his girlfriend was living with him, and we would take turns playing that game, and all three, like the other two people, would just watch that person play through their section of the game, and then we would take turns, and so you end up watching the entire game 3 times,
Oh yeah.
And whenever I was watching the trailer for Village when it first came out, my wife, I was watching it from my laptop in bed, and my wife, I didn't even know she was watching it, but she was like, "Oh, what is this? What is this new? Is this a new series? Like what is it? Resident Evil. Oh wow!" So I feel like I'm gonna get to experience that again, where I'm gonna play the game and she's gonna watch it, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, when it does come out, I'll be taking a day off from work if I'm working, and I will just be playing it all day. I'm gonna look at my boss, and I'll be like, listen,
make a special controller.
I'll be like, listen, Corey, I gotta go to work. I gotta take this day off. Why? Well, because there's a 9-foot-something-inch tall vampire mommy that needs to dom me. Okay? She has to crush me. All right? And he's gonna look at me funny, and I'm gonna listen. Resident Evil came out, and he's like, okay. And then during the stream, all you guys are gonna hear is this. It's gonna be like, yeah, guys, let's play this. Oh yeah.
Pretty funny. Resident Evil 2 was one of the first games that I played all the way through by myself.
So Resident Evil 2 Remake on PC has some fantastic mods. Currently, when you boot up my copy of Resident Evil 2, Leon is in a G-string, and on his codpiece is the Raccoon City emblem. Claire is in a stripper cop outfit, so it's just covering her tits and barely covering her waist. And she has a badge and a little thing and a hat, and it's amazing. And when Mr. X chases you, all you hear is, X gon' give it to you. Gon' give it to you. Knock, knock, knock. It's on the door. And you're like, run.
That's
now,
funny.
Which makes it even funnier because, Leon is in a G-string running from Mr. X while he sings, coming. X gonna give it to you. I was like, if I'm going to mod this, we're modding this ridiculously.
I haven't tried any mods yet, but I did pick that up as soon as it came out and spent time playing it.
It's really good.
God bless the mod community on PC.
Yes, because those people are doing the Lord's work. Let's be honest, the Lord's work. Not sure which Lord, but they doing it.
What was the first game you think you went all the way through yourself as a kid?
For me, it had to be 2.
What, Resident Evil or just video game in general?
Just video game in general. For me, it happened to be Resident Evil 2. I'm pretty sure Resident Evil 2 was the first for me, I think.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
Remember. Oh, wow. A Final Fantasy game.
Quest, yes.
Yep, Mystic Quest for the SNES. And then I found Earthbound. And then Earthbound was my life for years.
Yes.
Yeah, I played the Final Fantasy games when I was a kid, but I was never patient enough to make it all the way through them.
Oh, I love the Earthbound game, or the Final Fantasies.
We would I would rent a lot of games from Pick-a-Foot when I was a kid. And so if you rent the game, it's like, unless you keep renting it, you got to beat it in like 2 weeks.
Yep.
Turn it back in.
Earthbound was this game that I don't know if you've ever played it, but I highly suggest finding a ROM for it, sitting down and enjoying. Just an all-around amazing game. Okay. I rented it so much from Blockbuster. My dad used to work part-time at Blockbuster. Okay, so I rented it like for so long at Blockbuster that he's like, you keep taking my free rental. So he went out and bought it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, it's mine! And I had to sell it a couple years ago. I actually had to sell all of my video games a couple years ago because of I just couldn't find a job and I had to pay bills and take care of my family.
I remember this game, Earthbound.
Yeah, I sold it with the strategy guide because when I got it, it was a big box, strategy guide and everything in it all at once. And I sold it for like $90, which the only reason it was $90 was because the strategy guide had been well loved. Every page was still in it. It just had its wear and tear around the edge. And the box had gotten lost during moving, so I didn't have all the original packaging. If I had the original packaging and the strategy guide wasn't better, I'd have got like $200 for it.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, because they sell for a lot. A lot. But
I remember the cover of this game, probably from Blockbuster or something.
Oh yeah. It's the only one of the Earthbound games, or the mother games, that made it over to America. Well,
it's for the for the NES.
Yeah, translated. Over. Yep.
Mother 3 is in translation limbo.
Yep.
No, correction. It has been completed. A fan translation has been completed for it. You just need a ROM of the official a ROM or an official copy of the game in order to apply it. But beyond it even coming to the States, that is a moot issue so far.
So that's sad. Sinner souls. Oh, yeah. So also, Resident Evil 3, if you pick it up on PC, it's got some really fun mods too. Highly suggest.
I thought about getting it. I haven't bought it yet. I thought about getting it because because I really enjoyed the remake. But I haven't done like I played the game; it was nostalgic for me. But I haven't done any like once I beat it, I didn't do any additional stuff. I feel like there's a ton of more stuff I could do in 2, really, if I really dove into it.
There probably is. I usually wait when I buy them because I initially buy all of my like games like these on PS4 because me and Tig share our PS4s. So that way we can just buy one game each and we both have access to it. And it's easier that way. It's like borrowing each other's games as we did when we were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Don't tell Sony.
That's right.
Yeah, really.
Well, hey, it's completely legal what we're doing. They set it up this way. Okay.
Yep.
So like we bought Resident Evil 8 on PS4 first. And that we bought the deluxe, man. We were like, fuck it, if we're doing this, we're going big. We're getting everything. So $40 from each of us, and we purchased the $80 thing. Eventually, whenever I catch Resident Evil 8 on sale after it's out, I'll buy it on PC and play with the mods. Because there's gonna be mods. You know there's gonna be mods. The modding community is probably going to get fined and arrested.
The modding community is going to get arrested, sir.
Yes. There's going to be some knocks on the front door from the FBI. FBI? Hi. Yes, let's be honest. Somebody's going to get arrested.
You know what you did.
Oh, it's going to be fun. But usually I buy them when they're like $20 on sale, and then mess around with the mods and have fun. You know, I'll do a stream with Resident Evil 2 modded, and then the first thing you see is Leon's codpiece right up on the center page because I'm not subtle.
Yeah, I'm looking. The Resident Evil 3 is still $60.
You gotta
wait for some sort of sale or something. I might pick it up.
You gotta shop around. Green Man Gaming's good. I'm trying to think of where else I go. CD keys. I usually tell people not to, take a look around. CD keys is one of the better ones that out there for the gray-ish marketplaces, but they're not gray market. They're more of what they do is they buy it over in other countries, the universal versions of it for a cheaper price, and then resell it over here.
Yeah.
So, actually, you can get Resident Evil 3 for PC for $17.03 now on CD keys.
But can I add it? So if I buy it there, can I add it to my Steam account?
Oh yeah, they send you a promo code. Yeah.
Oh wow.
You can get the Metro Redux bundle, PC bundle for $8.22. Resident Evil 6 for $7. But I have only ever had one problem with one code from CD Key, and it was rectified in 20 minutes. Like I had my money back in 20 minutes.
I've bought like Windows keys that way through like where they just sell the product key.
Yeah.
I've never actually done it for any kind of game or anything, but it worked out the time I did it for a Windows key.
Nice. That's actually not that bad. I have a friend who works for Microsoft who does things for me, so I don't really have to pay that much for Windows keys. And that's the last we'll ever speak of that.
Your dad work at Nintendo too?
I wish. I wish. Oh man. But yeah, like I tell everybody to approach those at their own risk, but I haven't had much problems with CDs. They've been pretty solid, and the developers do make their money off of them. So that is one of the other things. That was one of the first questions I asked them. I was like, "The developers make money off of you guys?" And they're like, "Yeah, when we initially buy the keys."
They just buy in bulk or something. Yeah.
Yes, which makes sense. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of the. Oh, okay. So big news. Ish. I talked about it last week, but this was my first week as the lead at my job. I spent all weekend training like new people, and apparently I'm really good at training people. I'm not really good at training people. There's one person I got to retrain, but I'm a good trainer. regardless of how crazy I looked, they kept asking me questions. And at the end of the day, they were like, "You got to be sick of talking to us." I'm like, "No, it's my job. You're fine. I get paid a lot of money to answer your questions, so keep asking, guys. Keep asking." And
congratulations, man.
yeah, it was interesting. The individuals that recently got hired in that I'm training are literally my people. We sat there and repaired the shit out of some things, and we're laughing and talking and cracking up as much as possible while we did it, and it was all around a good experience. So I'm excited about that. And today the other lead's in there, and he's like, "They're talking too much." I'm like, just tell them to get back to work. They'll be fine. So it was a good experience. I had fun. I have some things I need to work on with some of the people to make them better, because I am also learning as they're learning, because I have to learn how to be a lead, motivate, and maintain. So it's going to be interesting.
Gotta keep those product numbers up.
Yep. Considering right now I'm going to be off repairs while I'm learning how to do this. I'll repair when I can, but for the most part, repairing is no longer my responsibility.
I always found that it was hard for me to go from, because I like being the guy that fixes things. So it was hard for me to step back and trust that someone else was going to do it.
Yes.
That's always, and still, that still is. That's always the hardest part.
It is. It is really hard, because you're watching people do things, and you want to walk over and just take it from them and do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because
exactly.
You know how to fix it. Like, I got up and roamed around for like an hour to watch everybody do things, and I watched people do things. I'm like, I watched one person start to repair an LCD, and I'm like, stop, turn it around. It's so much easier if you approach it from this angle. And then like an hour later, I corrected him again. I'm like, just you know what? Figure it out for yourself. You're doing a good job. Keep working. I can't really like yell at people to do it my way. They have to figure it out, even though my way has been tested and tried and true, and it's the fastest way to do it. And okay, sorry, done now.
People got to learn, man.
I know, and I have to be a lead and make sure that they just stay on point and stuff like that. And it's rough sometimes,
Indeed. People got to learn.
People do have to learn. But anyways, yeah, no, work was going good. Tig, we already talked the other day. You, of course, are fine. You don't have anything eventful going on.
I'm not much of an adventurer these days, so
yeah.
I don't have much to report on besides stuff I look at on TV.
Yeah.
Which are we going to talk about?
Yeah, what are you looking at on TV, man?
There we go.
Let me find a safe place. I'm currently shooting Molded.
Look at this fucking guy, man. Look at this fucking guy.
All right, pause. Okay. So, I'm doing my thing where I'm, equally trying to catch up on anime and non-anime stuff.
That's a forever struggle.
It is, especially when there's a backlog of stuff that just won't end, like One Piece. And I will never watch One Piece at this point. I'm still on episode 30. Episode 1030.
Just forget about it.
But catching up on Dr. Stone season 2. It's fun to watch these people invent stuff, and then find out that I could actually make that stuff at home if I had the right materials. Like, you will not like the episode where he taught people how to make their own version of Coca-Cola. You will not guess how many videos on YouTube I found where people are like, holy shit, it actually works.
Yeah. What's funny about Dr. Stone is the science in it is actually real. It's insane.
And it's always impressive to watch them go step by step to figure out these problems. from literally nothing. Like, we're still stuck in the Stone Age, and by episode 30, they're already in the Steam Age.
Yeah.
In the course over the course of less than a year or so.
So cells at work. Every bit of cells at work is actually medically true. What they're doing with Dr. Stone, as I've come to find out reading into it, is they're actually using real science and putting it in there as a way to teach people about science. Because if you know anything about anime is meant to be educational and help the Japanese people learn and recover from what happened during World War II. That's why anime had a big boom after Nagasaki and Hiroshima. It displayed futures of hope and prosperity and stuff like that from a dark
its original purpose. Yes.
Yeah, from its dark past to that. Then they started converting it into educational stuff with manga. If you ever read like a safety instruction book in Japan, it is literally still a manga. It's written in that style and drawn in that style, which is really cool. Even though nowadays the heavy duty anime is still frowned upon in Japan, an otaku is not a term that you want to be called in Japan. But over here, Americans are like, otakus! It is us!
We embrace the nerd culture.
That's right. We embrace the outcast status that Japanese people don't want. So, what they're doing with a lot of these things that I've seen, and I'm assuming, this is an assumption, ladies and gentlemen, not a fact, okay, is they're using a lot of this to help educate their people. Because it's the only other thing I can think of to have so much educational crap be that entertaining. I know how my body heals wounds now because of adorable little platelets.
little kindergarten platelets with white hats and whistles.
Yes, and it's amazing. I freaking love it.
Aside from anime, I'm also trying to catch up on a lot of the newer stuff that just came out, the winter season anime.
That's a lot of stuff.
Because not a lot of them are carryovers from the previous season. But aside from that, I'm watching some of the new stuff on TV, and well, I say TV, but really it's more like Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus. And it wasn't until like the pandemic hit like super hard that I started catching up on shows like The Mandalorian. And right now I'm doing my weekly duty of watching WandaVision, and I am thoroughly intrigued by that show. And the fact that I have coworkers that are like even an episode behind is like wearing on my soul. And I'm like, I want to share what I know, but it would spoil the fuck out of it for you.
Yeah, like we're not going to
catch up.
We're not going to spoil anything this episode about what happened in this most recent episode of WandaVision.
Not yet.
Because you just need to watch it, Bo. Like the big stuff happened in this episode.
Big.
I mean, I'm planning to watch it. We actually started it and decided we liked it, but it's a show. So my problem is like I've got like shows that I can watch on my own, and then shows that I have to watch with the wife. That's one of the ones I have to watch with the wife, but she's wanting to watch this other show, so it's like we got to finish that to start that one.
Okay, so I'm gonna break it down to you how you propose it to her. Okay, This is how you get out of the Soprano thing. Point out to her that every episode is roughly less than 20 minutes until you get to the most recent episode, which is about 40 minutes. So what you do is you say, listen, we can knock out 3 episodes.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
An hour. There's only, 6 episodes, 7 episodes out right now?
If we watch about 3 episodes of Sopranos a night. If we just sacrifice one of those, we could cover 3 episodes of WandaVision.
Exactly.
That's a good tactic, actually. Really
compromise. You meet in the middle.
Yep. Sacrifice 1 episode to watch 3 episodes and get caught up. See, here in 2 to 3 nights, you'll be completely caught up on WandaVision and go ahead and give that hour back to The Sopranos. And if you do it
really
correct,
point.
and if you do it right, you watch WandaVision first and then finish off with Sopranos.
I like it. I'll say what we have here is a lack of communication.
What we have here is a failure to
communicate.
I heard that in a Danger Doom song the other day, and I had never gotten it before because I didn't watch The Sopranos. I was like, oh, that's what he means.
Wasn't that from Major Payne too?
Yeah, it is in Major Payne. Yeah, it is in Major Payne.
But that's not where it's from.
Okay.
It might be in Major Payne first. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up.
I was gonna say, let's see when Major Payne came out. 1995. Sopranos.
It was later than that, I think. I think it was like closer to 99.
Let's see. When did Sopranos come out? 1999. So it is from Major Payne.
Oh, no, it is not. I've looked it up. The actual quote
I just did too.
It is from a movie, a 1967 movie called Cool Hand Luke.
That's right. Yeah, it's from Cool Hand Luke.
God, from Cool Hand Luke. Okay, I guess I'm watching Cool Hand Luke.
So it's referenced a lot in pop culture.
Yes,
I never knew it.
That's
including
funny.
MF Doom.
What we have here is a failure to communicate. See that, like, I will always relate that to Keenan Ivory. Keenan? No. Which one? Damon Wayans standing in front of that kid and just yelling it in his face. My name is Major Winifred Benson.
Switch those two around.
Oh, I keep messing that up.
My uncle, at the time that movie came out, my uncle was a gunny sergeant in the Marine Corps, and it was his favorite stinking movie. He quoted it all the time.
Killing is my business, ladies, and business is good. That is a movie you could quote all day, every day.
It really is. It really is. And then the little engine that could. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Shoot. And I'm pulling out my gun and I shoot.
I don't know how he wound up talking about Major Payne.
It's just how it happens. This is the podcast where that shit happens, man.
It really does.
One day we're talking about anime and vampire women, and now we're on to Major Payne.
Yep. Let's see. What are the quotable? Let's see. Quotable lines from.
Oh God, I can think of like plenty of those. Like,
let's see what the internet thinks right here.
Oh, what does the internet think? Okay.
Yes. So, boy, I am 2 seconds from being on you like white on rice in a glass of milk on a paper plate in a snowstorm. I'm going to put my foot so far up your ass that water on my knee will quench your thirst. Apparently, he pissed all over the front of his pants. Because he's 6, woman. When I was 6 years old, I had a full-time job. Oh, God, here we go. Maybe what he needs is for you to pop your titty out of his mouth and let the boy grow up. Excuse me, what'd you say? Did I stutter? Pop your titty out of his mouth and stop babying him.
No, you gotta say it right. I didn't stutter.
There we go.
I said, pop your titty out of his mouth and stop babying him.
I don't call it babying, I call it nurturing, and I call it neutering. And the line after that, and I call you insecure, overbearing, psychopathic, what is that?
Lunatic, frigid asshole?
No, egomaniacal, frigid, lunatic asshole. I ain't frigid. If he's still there, there it is. The best line in the movie. If he's still in there, he ain't happy. What's going on?
Just killed the boogeyman with extreme prejudice. And if he's still in there, he ain't happy.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
such a great thing. Benson Winifred Payne. I can't believe I keep messing that up, man. I've seen that movie so many times.
The Pain.
Yep. Such a great movie. Such an underappreciated movie too.
Yeah, it went straight to VHS, didn't it?
I don't know. Let's see.
I don't think there was a theatrical release.
I think it was a theatrical release. Pretty sure. Look at this. Rotten Tomato 33%, Metacritic 34%, IMDb 6.3%. The user percentage 93%.
Much higher. Yeah.
Yeah. That'll tell you.
Back to what we were talking about earlier in the episode.
Yep.
You can't trust them, man.
You really can't
trust them.
Can't not.
What are you looking at? Assholes? Oh God! You really can't trust them. You really can't. That movie was fantastic. I actually enjoy reading the negative reviews later on Rotten Tomato, so I can laugh at people not getting jokes. This movie was so juvenile. Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be.
The friggin' point.
Yeah, didn't you miss it?
Just like all the point of Adam Sandler's movies is so that he and his friends could go hang out and just have fun and maybe film a plot in between the scenes.
Right? And he's fucking Adam Sandler. He can get away with it. So, Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, people started attacking Rob Schneider for impersonating Asian people. Rob Schneider is Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's part Asian.
One of those. He's part Asian. It's one of those things. He's like, I'm pretty sure. I believe his mother is.
His mother. His mother is. I think she's she's not Korean. She's Oh God, what was it? Because he said it in the stand up and he said it in an interview.
His mother, his grandmother was a Filipina.
Mm-hmm.
And his
Filipino,
grandfather.
That's right.
Yep. His father was Jewish. His mother was Catholic, but his grandmother was Filipino, and his grandfather was white, Army private. So there you go.
So there you go, genetic lottery.
Yep. And regardless of anybody says, Filipino is technically still Asian. It's not even technically; it is Asian. I mean, it's in that Asian part of the world.
Yeah.
So.
The Philippines.
Yes. We try to stay away from the stupidity of the cancel culture and all that stuff, but sometimes we veer onto that subject and talk about it. Like we talked about the whole thing with Gina Carano last week. I still stand with Gina getting fired for that. The way she got fired was some bullshit. Kathleen Kennedy should be hung for what she's done to Star Wars. How dare she hurt the Sacred Trilogy, making Luke Skywalker look like a bitch. Was very saddening to me. Very, very saddening to me. And she likes to say that the majority of the people that were really loud about the sequel trilogy are just a small minority. And we're sitting there going, we literally made the shareholders at Disney concerned when we canceled Disney Plus. That's not a minority, So, and listen, I'm all for like people, doing whatever they want to be happy. Please be happy. We have a finite amount of time on this world. Stop being like miserable, Stop pushing your misery onto somebody else. And celebrities should keep their political opinions to their fucking self. Let's be honest. They don't need to be talking about it. None of them ever do. Especially when they're representing a company. I don't care if you agree with the company's political opinions or not. Everybody should just keep your mouth shut because you're just a guy who shows up behind a camera and pretends. Do your job.
I haven't watched any. I'm just not a Star Wars guy, man. I haven't watched any of The Mandalorian.
It's okay.
I don't know much about the controversy. Even I mean, all I know is that apparently it wasn't like she was asked multiple times to stop tweeting some sort of thing.
No,
That's another thing that I heard.
Yeah,
like it'd be kind of weird if it was like a one time kind of thing, but if it's like a multiple offense kind of thing, then maybe I'd understand a little bit better.
I can't really speak to either. I don't really know. That's just something that I've heard about the situation.
So a lot of it is they blew a lot of it out. A lot of people blew a lot of little things out of proportion, and they took things that she said and shaped it to their agenda. Some shit she shouldn't have tweeted. I'm not gonna lie. Like, she could have used better examples by all means, but some shit was not. It was just torn out of proportion to suit somebody's agenda.
I think the thing that people think is like it's strange coming from Disney. Like Disney's all like woke Disney now, but like there was a time period where they had the Jim Crows. Like it's just weird, kind of getting woke Disney these days. It's kind of hypocritical in some ways.
It is.
They did make what's that movie? Not Sons of the South.
Songs of the South.
Yeah.
Yeah, Songs of the South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know enough about the situation to really comment.
It's okay. It's all right.
I know. I really know that a lot of times, I hear about cancel culture though in such a way that it's like, well, what is it really? It's just a private business saying they don't want to do business with a person based on something they did or said. They're like totally allowed to do that. It's only a judgment in the court of public opinion. And it's not like a new thing. Like this has always happened. So like the people that kind of get on the cancel culture, like brigade or the anti-cancel culture soapbox, I kind of question that too. You know what I mean? It's like the anti-SJWs are just as annoying as the SJWs kind of thing. Like it's just, it just seems like both are kind of played up for a political reason.
It's all a political game. I think something in the past shouldn't come back to bite your ass, especially if you paid for it. I mean, if you didn't pay for it, absolutely, fucking get out of here. The shit with Bill Cosby, I understand. Yeah, no, he deserves to be in jail.
That was wild.
Yes, but at the same time,
unfortunate, but still, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, you can't shit on that man's achievements in his life, and that's what they did. Is they shit all over his achievements. We would not have the Black Stunt Actors Guild if it wasn't for a lot of his actions. He helped get a lot of black comedians going in the game. He helped a lot of them.
There wouldn't be like any black TV shows if he hadn't done the Cosby Show for as long as he did and had done it the way he did it.
Yeah. And people just kind of want to shit all over his achievements because he was a sleazebag. Let's be honest. Some of the worst people in this world were some of the people that got the greatest change, except for Hitler. Apparently, Hitler was a really kind of like stand-up guy by standards, not a stand-up guy by murdering other people. Let me clarify this. He's a terrible fucking person.
But his execution was horrible.
Like, if you remove Hitler and everything he did from what kind of person there's no way to say this without sounding like, okay, yeah.
There's no way to say
this. There's no way to say this.
There's no way to say this without sounding like
I feel like you gotta give up on saying this.
Yeah,
I wouldn't feel so married to this topic if I were you.
He never cheated on his wife. He never, or his girlfriend. He stood by his people.
His original intention was to help his people.
Some of his people, right? Okay.
Just leave the genocide part out of it.
He's just a fucking psycho. There's no way to get past this conversation, but he's just a fucking psycho. But when you think about the little things like that and you compare it to other people who have ruled changed the world, you will see that, sleazebags have made more progress than non-sleazy people. And that's wrong.
A lot of imperfect people have
there we go.
What is a more perfect world, at least in their intention.
We are masters of linguistics here. Can't you tell?
Like, fucking most of our founding fathers were slave owners, and we can't really get around that. But hell, we wouldn't have the Constitution or the Bill of Rights or all that, the beginning of all that stuff, if they didn't decide to do that in the beginning. Yep. Slave owners be damned. They still tried to do something a little bit better for America as a whole. Eventually we got there.
Yep.
We still got some work to do, but, we're getting there. And if they didn't lay the groundwork, who's to say we wouldn't have even gotten to this point in the beginning?
Exactly. So, books. Read any good books lately? Let's get off the subject completely now.
Yeah.
Now that we've said some awkward shit.
Let's drop the racism and move on to something more fulfilling.
Yes. You read anything good lately? Count? Yeah, right?
I haven't read any books. The only books that I've been purchasing have been RPG books. I haven't read any actual books. Not recently.
Well, I am currently working my way through Neuromancer by William Gibson. It's one of those definitive cyberpunk stories from the 80s. It's good so far.
Well, I
haven't really aside from the comics that you've been suggesting that I read, I've not really read much as far as novels. I am open for any suggestions. My genres of choice are science fiction and fantasy, preferably high fantasy, but and yeah, those genres are pretty much the only ones I read these days.
I am working my way through book 2 of the Vampire Hunter D series, and it's a slow task to read on my Kindle, but I listen to most of my stuff on Audible. So,
I remember the anime Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah, that's which one, Bloodlust or the original one from '85?
It may have actually been the original one, because I remember from whenever I was a kid and looking at old animes like Ninja Scroll and Vampire Hunter D. So I bet it was the original one.
That's actually
the culture. Here we go.
That's me, a man of culture.
Yep. That is actually the first book, and the anime is a very abridged version of it. They kept the story intact, but they cut a lot of things, changed the little things here and there. D talks a lot in the book compared to in the anime where he barely talks. In the book, he talks a lot.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. Bloodlust, which is the one that came out in 2000, I think, or 2002, is the third book. They actually completely skipped the second book when they made a anime version of it. What I would like to see would be a TV series of Vampire Hunter D. I think a Vampire Hunter TV series would do well, especially over here, because we're all vampire crazy anyways.
Oh yeah.
And the nice part about it is, anybody ever wants to complain about how they cast the characters in this, the series literally takes place 10,000 years in the future. There is zero reason to have any kind of ethnicity specifically for the casting. If they wanted to make D black, they could make D black if they wanted to. But they'd have to really find a pretty. The most important thing about D is he is beautiful, to everybody. He is very, very gorgeous. And he is adolescent.
What's his name from the Black Eyed Peas and call it a day.
Yeah, no, you got to find somebody
with the Chun-Li movie in Vega.
Yeah. We don't talk about that one. There's only there's only one true Street Fighter movie, and that would be the one with Van Damme, okay? We have the muscles from Brussels trying to be the most American person in the world. And then we have Raul Julia fucking cheesing it out of the park. And it is the greatest performance I have ever seen.
The day that Bison graced your village was probably the most terrible day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Of course! Right? And then once again, I asked the question, why is Chun-Li not in Mortal Kombat? What is this? But, yeah, I know. I really hope that article was a joke. I really do. Just like,
it wasn't. They did some major backtracking to save themselves,
God.
but they weren't joking.
They weren't joking. Just
people
like
called them on their BS immediately.
Just like, Yuffie from Kingdom Hearts is going to be in Final Fantasy Remake 7 Remake.
I saw something about that, yeah.
Yeah. Yuffie was from Final Fantasy 7 originally, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I hope somebody knows that.
I thought they were going to be I always said Yuffie. But maybe I've been saying it wrong.
It is Yuffie.
It is Yuffie.
Yeah, I always say Yuffie.
Yes.
But no, that's maybe that I misheard you then. There was some Kingdom Hearts news though recently, right? Like that they were going to put maybe it was one of the Star Wars characters or something Disney related in some new Kingdom Hearts. And they're also releasing the original Kingdom Hearts for PC now too. I think
I'm not buying.
I don't know. I saw some Kingdom Hearts news recently, and I thought you were referring to that. But.
No, so the article is they said that Yuffie from Kingdom Hearts is going to be in Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They said it backwards.
Yeah, and it's
Fantasy VII.
Yeah, So apparently 5 of the Kingdom Hearts games are coming to PC.
And yeah, it's funny because it's like the reverse way to view that is that like the Final Fantasy VII Remake is like this is the new Kingdom Hearts spinoff.
I swear, if anybody ever says that to me, I just might have to go to jail for murder that day. What'd you say? Say that one more time and see what happens. Kingdom.
Say that one more time while I'm paying attention.
Yes.
I may have to get off here in a few minutes, guys.
That's okay. We're actually going to wrap it up here in a minute.
Okay.
Because it is, it's been almost 2 hours. Actually, this is a particularly long one.
Ryu is in Mortal Kombat since when?
Yeah, right. Those jokes are getting funny. That movie's going to be amazing. I'm ready for it. And I'm going to throw down the gauntlet right here and tell everybody right now, and if they disagree with me, they're wrong. But the first Mortal Kombat movie from 1995 is the best video game movie ever made.
It has begun.
Right there. I'm gonna write it down right there. Because the Johnny Cage, perfect. Right? Sonya, perfect. Liu Kang, perfect. Fucking Shang Tsung, there is nobody else in this world that's gonna play Shang Tsung like he did. All right?
Hell, they brought him back for Mortal Kombat 11.
Exactly. He is the voice actor for Shang Tsung for Mortal Kombat 11. All right?
Voice actor and likeness.
That Goro, fantastic. Okay? Let's be honest, that's the way it is. It's the best you could ever ask for. And that is okay. Other video game movies, Monster Hunter, not bad. I was actually impressed. Like, I don't have anything really.
I'm probably in the minority of this one, but I actually enjoyed the Prince of Persia movie.
Yeah, you really
I've heard that before. I've heard somebody tell me that before. I've never seen it. But I've heard that. I've heard it in the reference that as far as video games movies go, I enjoyed Prince of Persia. That's the way I've heard it, but I have heard
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I've watched it. I don't know. I'll probably watch it eventually again, and then I'll go like, oh, I have watched this. But anywho,
just enjoyed his nut punch.
Yeah, that's right. That nut punch was great, dude.
Hey, they were $500 sunglasses.
They were $500 sunglasses. What I like about what I love about Mortal Kombat 11 is like Johnny is showing his age. So in between matches, if you're too close to your opponent, he'll do like a shadow kick back to his spot on the map, and then he'll like check his groin because he hurt his leg doing. He's like, oh god, and he'll like stretch it out, and it's like
pulls a leg muscle doing
pulls a leg doing his shadow kick. That is hilarious. That's one of those things that is keeping up progression of character. So, but on that note, Bo, if you want to do your spiel again before we call it a day, go ahead.
I would just recommend people to check out Undercast Collective on YouTube. It'd be the only thing I'd want to plug.
There you go. What kind of podcasts do you have on there? Let's throw out the questions real quick before we go off. We're gonna throw out 2 or 3 questions and answer them. List off some of the podcasts and tell us what they're about.
So Electric City Nerds is kind of similar to this show. It's kind of just like a free-for-all kind of comic book, what you might talk to the guy at the counter at the comic book store kind of thing. Let's see. Then there's I did a show called 312 Wellington. Actually think I'm going to retire that pretty soon, but I just talked about punk and hardcore music, kind of underground, kind of indie music stuff. But I've found that I don't have time to line up the interviews, and the show's not that interesting without interviews. So I'm probably going to retire that. I may actually pass it along to somebody. I have somebody in mind. But there's also the Minimal Effort Good Time Horror Show, which is a show where Scott and Halen review different horror movies, and they kind of talk about the social implications of some of the underlying messages in the movies. We also do a show called Film Flams, where David and I watch a movie and just talk the entire time. So the podcast runs the full length of the movie. Let's see, what am I missing? There's a Red Shirt Union. Red Shirt Union is a Star Trek RPG podcast. We talk about how to play the game, how to get better at playing the game, and we also play the game on the podcast. Shoot, is that I don't know what I'm missing, to be honest with you. I can't think of what I might be missing from the lineup.
That's okay. That's more than enough. I'll put a link in the description for Undercast, so that way you guys can go click it on YouTube and check it out.
Thank you.
I do highly suggest checking it out. These guys are really good. I've been in and out of the podcast for a couple of years now at this point.
Yeah. Really strange. Yeah. Oh yeah, you've been on several episodes now. Yeah.
Kelly, the great ruiner.
And that's right. And Tony, I didn't realize it, but I recognize your voice now. We played D&D together with Kelly.
Yeah, that's right.
Twice. Yeah. I didn't put it together until like midway through this podcast, and I was like, oh, I have met this. I've met this person before. We just couldn't see each other. We couldn't see each other, so we didn't know.
Yeah, that was like a year or two ago?
Yeah, probably maybe 2 years ago now.
Maybe 2 years ago at this point.
2020 went by so fast that it almost is subtracted from my concept of time, so it's probably been 2 years, yeah.
It's been a while.
About the concept of time, man.
It's been a while, actually, because I haven't done that stuff up at Planet Comics in a long time now at this point.
Yeah, it's been a minute too. Yeah.
Makes me kind of sad. All right, well, on that note, everybody, guys, thank you for coming out and watching the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is going to be uploaded on YouTube, and eventually one day we will get our status on Pornhub back, so that way we can be the only podcast on Pornhub.
Spread the word.
Spread the word.
Get the word out. Reach out to the owners. Let them know that this is something that people want.
The goal of becoming the only cleanup podcast on Pornhub will be obtained one day.
For that post-nut clarity.
I'd like to thank Bo for coming in and spending some time with us and chatting with us.
Thank you.
You guys definitely go check him out. I highly suggest it. Not only do you guys get to hear my lovely voice on some of them, but you get Bo and Scott, and honestly, they're both awesome. They're both my friends. I really thoroughly enjoy their streams. I turn on the podcast in the background while I play video games. So, it's good stuff. And of course, Tony.
Thank you, man.
Is always here. GW could not join us this evening, which is okay. He'll be back next week. So Thank you guys, and have a great night. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Peace and chicken grease.